This presentation delivers a critical analysis of Kayla, a young woman experiencing a troubled youth. Various biopsychosocial explanations will be addressed to explain Kayla's current experience of life at school. This presentation will begin by drawing on the biological, developmental, and social explanations which analyze the negative experiences of Kayla. Later, SEL and mental health interventions are introduced as practical methods that can be implemented. Finally, this presentation will deliver 3 self-reflections which address our learning experience throughout the unit and how we as future teachers can identify and address such situations in the workforce. Biological factors. Pubertal timing and early maturation for females are associated with risk-taking and may have negative effects. Arnett suggests depression, negative body image, eating disorders, substance abuse, delinquency, aggressive behavior, school problems, and conflict with parents are some of the effects of early maturation. Stanley Hall has coined the term a period of storm and stress, for which he states that adolescent storm and stress is reflected in especially high rates of 3 types of difficulties: conflict with parents, mood disruptions, and risk-taking behavior, such as substance abuse and crime. Kayla is said to be forgetting class content and not keeping up. In conjunction with her early maturation, Kayla may be feeling withdrawn from class discussion and content. Whether this is a direct effect of her early maturation or a relationship with cognitive lacking, Kayla is no doubt having negative classroom experiences along with developmental experiences. Although Kayla excels at sports and is physically more mature than her peers, an increasing contributor to female delinquency and negative life trajectories for females is the attraction of older males. As stated, she has difficulties with peers of her own age and hangs around with older students who have been previously reprimanded for using illicit drugs. Arnett has stated that early sexual activity, substance abuse, and delinquency are associated with early maturing females who have older groups of friends. It may also be uncomfortable or even excluding for Kayla to feel involved with girls her own age since she is more physically mature. Kayla may feel a closer relationship with older girls she has commonalities with, for example, discussions about menstruation. Furthermore, the increasing exposure that Kayla has with older peers, both male and female, increases the likelihood of risk-taking behavior. Such exposure may lead to a high chance of negative experiences or even mortality. The 2 largest causes of adolescent mortality are vehicle-related deaths and suicide. Hormones and risk-taking. An initial indicator of Kaylee's early onset of puberty may be related to family or lifestyle. Considering Kaylee is from a low background, her diet may be affecting her early stage of development. If Kaylee is consuming increased fatty foods, this may be initiating increased levels of leptin, which trigger the hypothalamus to release a hormone known as GnRH. This speeds up the release of the female sex hormone estradiol, initiating the early onset of puberty. Brain development factors. Jean Piaget's stage of development theory suggests Kayla's stage of development is in the formal operational stage. There are changes of abstract, complex, and critical thinking which begin to emerge. Interesting components of this phase are reflective judgment and hypothetical deductive reasoning. For Kayla, it is said in the vignette that she liked maths and science, but now often complains of forgetting class content and not being able to keep up. Some students have said that she can be withdrawn and doesn't share personal information. An explanation may stem from a critique of the Piaget framework. For example, Piaget has generalized that formal operational stage may be universal. However, formal operations may differ from culture to culture because different cultures have different requirements at different ages. This is seen as a biosocial explanation. Assuming that Kayla has a different culture because her family struggles to speak English, we can hypothesize that there is a differentiation in her formal operational phase. There may be a change in the thinking processes of Kayla due to a conflict of culture between her formal schooling and traditional family. Thus, we can see how multiple factors from the biopsychosocial model continue to cascade over one another. Furthermore, Kayla's exposure to poor social networks as well as early maturation, we can see that her cognitive development may be hindered and her ability to make reasonable judgments and moral choices may be hindered. Continuous exposure to negative stimuli may hinder the cognitive development for Kayla. As such, Kayla appears to be forgetting class content and not being able to keep up. Furthermore, the information processing approach views cognitive change as continuous and just suggests thinking processes occur at all stages, not just in key phases. For Kayla, concentration in class is critical at this time. Social development issues. The theory of Erik H. Erikson divides age stages from infancy to late adulthood. Social emotional factors rather than physical changes individually impact on psychological development. Kayla is situated between primary age and adolescence, which are the 4th and 5th stages of Erikson's theory. In the industry versus inferiority stage, a child develops his or her own social emotional environment by being part of new school peers. Cherry explains that the interaction of family members are centered in the earlier stage. However, this changes once a child enters school and starts to build a friendship with peers. As the vignette states, Kayla has a supportive home environment. We can make the assumption that Kayla had a positive early stage. However, the difficulties associated with adjusting to a new psychosocial environment, such as a lack of engaging in class, could be observed from her situation. In addition, not only a suitable role model is needed, but also social and emotional intelligence is required in order to adapt to the new social emotional environment. The 5th stage of Erikson's theory, identity versus confusion, is the period of developing a sense of self-identity and exploring independence. Seeing as Kayla has an increased occurrence of classroom absenteeism, not being able to keep up and hanging with a disorderly student who takes illegal drugs can be correlated to Kayla struggling with a sense of self-identity. However, Kayla's positive home environment is supporting, and as such, is one positive factor in deterring Kayla away from negative social groups and peer influence which may be negatively affecting her. Kayla's home environment may be having a protective effect. Intervention methods. The SEL framework. Social and emotional learning is a positive intervention method which promotes healthy mental health and reduces risk-taking behavior in adolescents.
With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships.
One of the competencies of the SEL framework is the capacity to accurately perceive one's strengths and weaknesses and handle everyday challenges with confidence and optimism. The teacher can have a chat with Kayla to make her aware of what she is good at and what she needs to improve on. Therefore, she'll be able to set small goals and make improvements step by step for these weaknesses and also be ready for challenges in maths and science confidently. In this way, Kayla will be able to feel optimistic and attend school regularly. Another 2 key competencies are the intention to engage in safe and healthy behaviors and be honest and fair in dealing with others, and the capacity to identify situations that require a decision or solution and assess the associated risks, barriers, and resources. These can teach Kayla to make better decisions to refuse drug use and avoid associating with delinquent peers. Some more examples to apply the SEL framework are exploring Kayla's feelings, personal values and home environment, and educating Kayla on the possible short-term and long-term health, social, and/or legal consequences of drug use.
Research shows social-emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often.
It has been posited that the universal school-based efforts to promote students' social and emotional learning represent a promising approach to enhance children's success in school and life. Various SEL programs have shown significant positive effects on targeted social emotional competencies and attitudes about self, others, and school. They also increased prosocial behavior and reduced conduct and internalizing problems and improved academic performance. However, it may not be so easy to chat with Kayla about her feelings as she may not be open to the teacher yet. A better method needs to be considered for the teacher to keep a good relationship with Kayla so she can be honest to the teacher. Mental help. Another way is to pair Kayla up with someone in the class who is good at maths and science to help with Kayla's subjects. Peer support plays an important role in adolescence. In this process, Kayla will be able to concentrate more on studying, hopefully making improvements in maths and science as well as associating with positive peer groups. The following analysis has identified the intersecting biopsychosocial cascades that illustrate and analyze the negative situations that Kayla is experiencing. We have identified biological, developmental, biosocial, and social explanations regarding Kayla's negative trajectories. We have also incorporated 2 SEL intervention methods that can be utilized practically to assist Kayla in overcoming her current circumstances.
Hi, my name is Matt. So what I've learned in this unit is a lot of factual information about adolescence, including the redundancy effect, split attention, biological factors, the processes that and the growing phases that teens go through, and how they get through this and how it affects them. So I've learned a lot of things about that. How it's going to make me a good teacher is that now I think that I'm quite educated in the differences between teens and how they're all different. So it's going to be encouraging an open classroom, rather than incorporating some sort of like rigid classroom that's uniform. I'm going to incorporate things like group work, peer support, and a variety of other teaching methods that are going to assist the students that are at different levels, not just be a classic style of classroom or what I was taught in school. So the thing is, teaching in Greater Western Sydney, there's going to be a lot of students from different backgrounds as well. So all those children are going to be different. So the things that I'll incorporate are specific strategies such as the GRIP method. If I see a student at risk, I can incorporate these types of methods to assist them. I can also incorporate things like social emotional learning, like mindfulness, as well as positive reinforcement for the children. So overall, the unit's just made me a better teacher. It's going to help me educate better students and make better human beings. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. In this unit, I've learned the biological and psychological development of adolescence. The healthy body risk-taking paradox theory by Jake, it makes me understand more about the reasons underpinning the adolescents' behaviors, as there is difference in the maturation rate of social-emotional network and the cognitive control network. The cognitive foundations of adolescence, such as working memory, intrinsic load, and extraneous load, also makes me reconsider how to teach students in an effective way. I've also learned the importance of teaching social and emotional skills to adolescents while teaching them knowledge. Students with good social and emotional skills are better at managing their emotions, making better decisions, associating with peers, and also this is an effective way to alleviate bullying in schools. A lot of useful programs have also been introduced throughout the unit, such as mindfulness program, Smiling Mind education program, and social and emotional learning framework. These useful programs can be implemented in my lessons later. One of my main teaching area is design technology, so in order to address the well-being issues in the lesson, I can first introduce the well-being program to them and then ask them to do their own research and probably ask them to create a series of posters to reflect all the elements of well-being and also address the importance. Or I can also ask students to make a short film to reflect their own experiences regarding to well-being issues or social and emotional learning issues. Thank you.
Hi, it's Jun. Honestly, I thought teacher is someone just delivers the knowledge, and I didn't understand why adolescents being depressed, delinquency, conflict with parents, and aggressive behavior. This unit explains why in biological, psychological, and sociological ways. Biologically, this unit shows how and why hormones produced or changed, such as leptin and gonadotropin, and these changes physically affect maturation. For the student who keep forgetting class content, such as Kayla, now I understand it is not her fault. Also, all the factors explained well with theoretical approach, such as Jean Piaget and Eric H. Erikson. Additionally, explanation of risk factors in depth, it makes me want to help them with frameworks such as cell, grip, and child. Aware of such frameworks makes me confident because I can fully support them by simply following the frames. Before taking this unit, I probably didn't want to help them or just avoid them. However, developing issues of adolescent in variety ways will dramatically change my perspective as my KLA is visual art. student has much more individual project than other areas such as painting and drawing, which means I have much more time to talk with them individually, and it is huge benefit to apply those frameworks. Thanks.